All right, you guys. So I know I promised I was gonna give a video on my technique or my style of trading. I don't really know what to call it. I trade using a few things, right? I trade using well, the main thing I trade with is technical analysis, right? So, you know, don't get caught up in all these different kind of names that people have for their strategies and things like that. It's all fluff, right? Um, don't get caught up in that. I trade off of price action, right? And price action, in the simplest terms, the simplest way I can put it is pretty much if price is going up, it's showing you what that price on that particular pair is buying, right? If price is going down, then it's showing you what that price on that particular pair is selling, right? That's price action in the simplest way I can explain it, right? Now, a lot of people try to get in here and they try to learn, every terminology possible. They try to learn every candlestick structure. They try to learn every candlestick formation. They try to learn everything, right? I trade off of technical analysis. I do know candlesticks, right? I don't know it too well. I mainly know candlestick formation. So stuff like raising wedge and things like that of that nature. I know what those are. But ultimately, I still don't react off of that. I react off of price action, right? So pretty much, I'm gonna show you guys how I got in this trade today, right? And your style of trading might not work or it might not be as efficient in every quarter, right? So the main thing to learn is the main thing to learn is you need to know. Well, I mean, for one, you have to learn, what style of trading works for your mental, right? So whatever you want to call it, whatever label you want to put on it, what style of trading works for your mental? I am a day trader to swing trader, right? So that means my trades usually take from 1 hour to maybe one day to hit, right? My target point. And my target point may be 1500 pips or 150 points, right? That's how I trade. So when I get in one trade, I'm not looking to scalp. I'm not looking to get in the sell and get in a buy. I'm not looking to, breakout trade. I'm not looking to do that, right? I'm getting in one trade, two trades, tops, max, right? If I get into three trades, it's a bad day. That means price is consolidating and I'm pretty much just trying to guess, right? And we all have those bad days no matter how long you stay in the market, right? My objective every day I trade which is usually Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, right? I don't try to trade every day. I might trade 3 to 4 days a week tops, right? I'm not trading 5 days a week, right? And if I have a really good week, first 2 days are bangers, right? 2000, I'm probably done for the week, right? But and and let me know if I'm all over the place on this video, right? Give me some feedback once you guys see this, right? Give me some feedback what I can do better to simplify it for you guys, right? Now, if you don't know anything, go look at something in the chat for refreshments or for refreshers. Go look at something, right? But pretty much right here, right? So you see, I do have these zones, right? Supply, demand, whatever you want to call them, right? I do have these zones on my chart, right? And now the zones, pretty much a zone, no matter what you call it, right? Supply, demand, whatever you want to call it, liquidity zone. All a zone is pretty much just marking off in a particular area in the market, right? It's making it easier for you to trade because when you condense something, it makes it easier to trade, right? So all a zone is for retail traders, it just condenses the market for you to be able to trade within that area, right? So right here, right? You have one zone down here, you have one zone up here, right? So it's above this zone, right? You see prices going up. That's price action, right? All the way from the opening. This is Sunday night, right? We had a gap down. It came up, right? We have the previous low. It formed a lower high, right? You see that wick, strong area of rejection. All wicks are areas of rejection, right? Boom, you have that, right? So coming into today, right? I'm never trading anything before the opening of New York. New York session starts at 9:30. So anything before 9:30, I'm not trading that. News trade, I don't really do that too much, but you can be profitable in news trading. You just have to be careful. You have to be on the right side of the move, right? I'm usually not doing that. I'm trading New York session 9:30 after, right? And like I said, my trades usually take maybe an hour or up to a day. Now, sometimes they hit in like 30 minutes, like today. It went like 1500 and like 30. You can see right here. It went 1500 pips or 150 points, right? In 30 minutes. Sometimes you have that. Just depends on volatility, right? So all I'm looking for is what price is doing. Like I said before, price is buying up. We see price has been buying up all night. So from London session until New York, price has been buying up, right? So now I'm looking for what? I'm looking for an entry point, right? Now that I see what price is doing, I'm looking for an entry point. Now that I see that price is showing me that it's buying, I'm looking for an entry point. So this right here is the 915 candle, right? Now you see all these candles, it kind of came up here and fizzled out, right? I'm paying attention to everything prior to the 930, right? Now, usually when you see my chart, I have two things, right? Because you never know what price is going to do, right? You have to be prepared. It can either buy or sell. No one knows, right? We don't forecast the market. We just react. So usually when I send out a signal, or when I trade, right, I have two things, right? Because price can either buy or it can sell. So I had these marked up before this even happened. So I like to get on the charts about 30 minutes prior to the session, 15 to 30 minutes prior to the session. So 9:15, I'm on the charts. I'm looking, I'm diagnosing. So I'm looking at this right here. I know that price is going up. So what is going to be my entry point? I'm going to have it right here, right? If it breaks this point right here, right? As far as me and my confirmations, if it breaks that point, I'm going to get in a buy, right? Now for a sell, if it breaks this point right here, I'm going to get in a sell, right? So these are my points drawn up, and I usually have mine going about 250, right? Like I said, I'm a day trader, intraday trader, so my trades usually take an hour to a day. I'm catching big moves in the market, right? That's one of the benefits of trading how I trade, right? I'm not a scalper. And I'm not a day trader. And a day trader means it's going to take maybe one day. I mean, I am a day trader, but I'm not a swing trader, right? So a swing trader means it's going to take, maybe 2, 3 hours to a few days to hit, right? I'm not trading like that. I'm an intraday trader. I'm an intraday day trader, right? Which means my stuff is going to hit in 1 hour to maybe a day, and sometimes quicker depending on liquidity, right? So I'm usually making my targets 250, right? But my target points are usually 1,000 or 1,500, right? That's when I'm taking my money or taking partials, right? You have days where I catch 2,000, sometimes 3,000, maybe 4,000 pips. I'm probably not riding that whole trade, right? Nobody ever rarely catches the whole trade or rides the whole trade, right? Those are going to be some of your biggest days, but that's not the whole point of trading, right? You're not getting in the market to try to catch massive days. That's not when you're going to make the most money. You're going to make the most money when you execute however you trade flawlessly or as close as flawlessly as possible, right? And for me, that means if everything is confirming, this right here was an A1 setup for me, right? So if everything is confirming, if I'm catching that, that's going to be one of my biggest days or a successful day for me, right? So like I said before, prior to the New York session, I'm looking at price. Price is telling me it's going up. So I'm looking for a entry point for a buy, and I'm looking for entry point to a sell because we cannot predict the market. We simply react, right? I think that's where a lot of new people kind of get lost at. They're like, oh, well, how did you know the market was going to do this? No one knows, right? No one knows. You look on the charts if you're trading technical analysis, you're looking on the chart for signs of confirmation, whether it's going to buy or sell, depending on your confirmations, right? So once I see it break this with no hesitation, I don't care how I'm feeling. I don't care what kind of doubts I have. I'm getting in a buy, right? And I'm usually giving my buys 350 pips or 35 points, right? That's when I'm going to close my trades. But sometimes maybe 450, depending on that. But usually when I give it more than 350 or 400, it's going to lose, right? So I try to keep it to 350 pips because you never want to hold a losing trade. You always want to hold a winning trade, right? Hold the winners, cut the losers, right? And that doesn't mean if you're down $10 in the trade, cut it. That means if it gets to your SL, right, your stop loss point, cut the trade. Don't let it get to your stop loss point and say, hey, well, it might turn around. Whoop, 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 whoop. No, you're hoping at that point in the market, and that's not a form of trading, right? If you're hoping in the market, you're usually gonna lose because that's not how the markets work, right? So I see right here we get in a buy, right? So boom, I get in a buy, right? I could place another entry right here, but like I said, I don't really do re-entries. I don't really scale in too much. I might do it every now and then, right? I don't scale in too much. I could have either scaled in when it broke this zone, or I could have scaled in when it broke this high right here, right? But I didn't, right? I just had one entry, right? So I just let that ride. So about 30 minutes, it hit, and boom, that's how I trade, right? Simple, right? Pretty simple. So let me know in the chat if you guys understood what I was saying, if this call was beneficial. Let me know in the chat. Let me know. But yeah, so that's pretty much my style of trading. I trade price action. I'm looking for confirmations. I use technical analysis. I know a few things as far as zones. I know a few things as far as candlestick formations, candlesticks, things like that. But ultimately, I'm getting in trades on the 15 minute, right? And I'm getting in those based off technical analysis, right? I keep it very simple, right? A kid can understand this, right? A kid can understand this. The whole point of training is not to try to make it some big math project or something like that. This is not geometry, right? Or it's not calculus, right? It's not supposed to be extremely hard. You're supposed to keep it as simple as possible because the hardest part in trading is managing your emotions, right? So I don't need to make anything else harder if managing my emotions because money is tied to emotions, no matter what anyone tells you. And I've been doing this for almost 5 years. It doesn't matter how much success you've seen, doesn't matter how big your withdrawals are, does not matter any of that. Your emotions are never going to go away and they're never going to dial down. So if you're trading right now, you're thinking you'll just wait for that to happen. You'll wait for your, emotions to be like, oh, well, I don't feel anything. That's never going to happen, right? You're just going to be able to manage those emotions, right? So your year one, you might close out trades because you're nervous. Your year two, year three, you're gonna let the trades play out. It's either gonna do one or two things. It's gonna win or it's gonna lose. It's that simple, right? There's no hoping in it. There's no, it might do this, it might do that. It's either gonna win or it's gonna lose, right? It's just that simple, right? And once you get past that, trading will be a lot more simpler, right? Even though trading is hard, right? Trading is hard. Anything worth the risk is hard, right? I'm not gonna sit here and say trading is easy, but it is doable, right? It's more than doable, but you have to manage your emotions. So, like I said, that's how I trade price action based off technical analysis. Yeah, man. And all I trade is Nas 100, right? I have other pairs on here, and Nas 100 is indices. So I'm an indice trader, right? Or an index trader, right? That's all I trade, right? Futures, whatever you want to call it. Whatever you want to call it. I don't know. People call it something new every year. I don't really care. I make money, right? I don't really care to learn all that kind of stuff. If I can make money, that's what I care about, right? And of course, you learn things over time, but the goal is not to overload yourself with knowledge, right? Keep it simple, keep it quick, keep confirmations, keep your rules, right? Set your stuff before the trade, right? Set, what you're willing to do, set what you're willing to risk losing, set those kind of things before the trade happens, right? You do all those things and you can be successful in trading, right? Don't let anyone tell you otherwise, right? But like I said, drop some comments, some feedback in the chat. I think everybody in here has been doing their part. I think I've been, kind of absent. So I'm just trying to drop this, trying to give you guys a little bit of knowledge because, like I said, um, they made this chat to benefit other traders, right? We can go far alone. You go further with a group, right? Yeah, you go fast. You can go fast alone. My fault. You can go faster alone or you can go further with people. So if I get in here and I show someone some knowledge, right? And let's say 6 months, 1 year, 1.5, 2 years, they come back and they break something down, maybe something that I've been missing and I actually see it, right? That's going to make me better in return. So if I pour in knowledge, what I know, it can, potentially, on the back end, give me more knowledge, right? If I help someone else out. So I'm just trying to do my part, you guys. Let me know how this call was. If it's informative, let me know. If this trash was if this call was trash, let me know too, right? Give me feedback, let me know. But don't give me no feedback on terminology because I don't really care because I make money, right? Don't try to tell me to, make it harder than what it is. But, give me feedback and let me actually know, did this call help you understand a little bit more? And it may not help you now. Maybe you have to learn some of the basics and then run this call back and then let me know. But yeah, man, that's pretty much it. So that's how I trade. That's my style of trading. That's how I've been trading for almost 5 years. Like I said, it's gonna be 5 years coming up. That's what has, given me success. I think it has been 5 years. Yeah, it has been 5 years. That's what has been giving me success in the markets. I've been able to withdraw money consistently. Um, we're still trying to reach that six-figure consistency mark. So yeah, man. Hope this call helped you guys and hope to see you guys at the top and not the bottom.